Today's video is dedicated in memory of the soldiers that fell during the Six-Day War. We all know about the miracles of the Six-Day War, and it's all in our minds as a fond memory, an incredible time when God watched over us and brought us back to so many different parts of the land of Israel that we've been hoping for, longing for thousands of years. However, we have to realize that these miracles didn't go without sacrifice, and there were many individuals that were killed during this war. I want to focus on one individual before we start the Torah that we're going to learn today. There was a chayal named Dani Shani, who was an officer in the tanks brigade. He was killed during the war, during the battle for the city of Rafiach. At that time, while he was shooting towards a tank, and he actually hit the enemy tank in order to move his forces forward. However, he was hit, meanwhile, by another tank and was killed. Today we're going to discuss one of the mitzvot that we have to remember. The mitzvah to remember is fascinating, because it takes us as individuals and puts us in the minds of the communal level of the Jewish people. The Torah demands of us to remember things that we never experienced. And I think what the Torah is telling us is that we have to take ourselves and identify with the history of the Jewish people, so much so that it becomes a memory of ours. And the things that the Torah demands of us to remember are the events and ideas that are so vital to what it means to be a Jew. Now, one of those aspects that is so vital to be a Jew happens to be, or seems to be, the mitzvah to remember Amalek. The mitzvah to remember the fact that Amalek came and attacked us while we were on our journey out of Mitzrayim. Now, this seems so difficult, because if you think about it, the killing of Amalek is something which is so hard to connect to. The Sefer HaChinuch says that the mitzvah to remember Amalek is not just like any other mitzvah to remember. It's not just to remember passively, but rather it's to take us and put us in the mindset of why we have to do another mitzvah, which is the destruction of Amalek. And this is a very difficult mitzvah to relate to. And it's a very difficult mitzvah for many, especially our youth, to feel that it's something which is just and right. In general, we like to say the Torah is darchei darchei noam. It's something which we can relate to on a moral level and not just on a theological level. So how can it be that we're commanded to kill people, to kill an entire nation? How is that possible? And not only that, but the fact that we have to remember it on a yearly basis comes to teach us that we're supposed to get riled up and understand why we have to destroy these people. Now, this is something so difficult for us to understand. I think that even though it's difficult to understand, and even though in general we have this way of looking at the mitzvah from a practical point of view, I think there's something very deep about this mitzvah to remember, and why it's so vital to our identity to not only remember Amalek, but to take action and to destroy Amalek. Reb Chaim Mibrisk has a fascinating way of looking at the mitzvah to destroy Amalek. He comes up with a novel idea. He says that in general we like to look at Amalek as only a biological nation. A nation, children of the Amalekites that came and attacked us in the Midbar from generation to generation, all through Og, in the time of Shaul, all the way to Haman Agigi in the time of the Purim story, and then all the generations afterwards. And Reb Chaim says that more than just being a biological nation, Amalek is a concept. It's a concept of people that negate what the Jewish people are about. It's the source of evil in this world. And he says that theoretically, any nation or any person that their entire being are devoted to destroying the Jewish people would come under the umbrella of Amalek. Now, this novel idea, I think, whether or not we accept it in its fullest extent, in a practical, halachic way, as Reb Chaim intended it, I think that it teaches us, in essence, what the entire mitzvah is all about. Amalek is not just the mitzvah to go out and destroy a people, but rather it's to teach us that our job as the Jewish people within this world is to get rid of evil, to stand in the face of evil and say that we are here not only to do good, but in order to accomplish our role as the Jewish people, we have to stand and destroy the evil that exists within this world. We don't live within a rosy world. We don't live in a world that's all perfect. We live in a world where there is evil, and we have to destroy that. So much so that this is a part of who we are as a people, that Rabbi Yehuda Masechet Sanhedrin tells us there are 3 mitzvot that we have to do once we enter the land of Israel. And these are the 3 mitzvot that are needed in order to create the society that is demanded of us as the people living in the land. The first one is that we have to appoint a king. Once appointing a king and creating a sovereign government of the Jewish people, the next step is the destruction of Amalek. The third step, after the kingship, governance, destroying of Amalek, the third step is the building the Beit HaMikdash. It seems to be that each one of these steps are integral to reach that level of building the Beit HaMikdash. In order to create Kedusha in the world, in order to create a place for God to live in this world, we need to first and foremost have sovereignty, and second most, we need to create a world that is void of evil. That is so much so our identity, to see ourselves as attacking evil. Now, even so, it's a very difficult mitzvah to understand and to relate to. In general, the Torah demands of us to be caring people, sympathetic people, empathetic people, people that have mercy on others. How could it be the Torah demands of us to do this? Rav Kook, who is a person that both lived in a world of synthesis and tried to bring different pieces of the world together, as well as understood the difficulty in that mission, was torn by this mitzvah Mechyat Amalek. And in 3 different places, Rav Kook speaks about the mitzvah of destroying Amalek and remembering Amalek in 3 very different ways. And they live on the extreme of this perspective, of the paradox that we've discussed. Rav Kook, on one hand, says there's a mitzvah to love everybody. There's a mitzvah to love all of creation, because all of creation comes from God. And he includes with that Amalek, and he brings down a Tosfot that says that we have to destroy Amalek mitachat hashamayim benami ala shamayim. We have to destroy Amalek from under heaven, but not above heaven. There is at some level that Amalek deserves to exist within reality, and we have to love everything about creation. On the other extreme, Rav Kook understands that we as the Jewish people completely negate the essence of what Amalek is. Our essence is good and kindness and goodness to the world, and Amalek's essence is evil and destruction. And therefore, we have to live within that conflict, and we have to destroy evil from this world and understand that not only is Amalek something that's difficult for us, but it's something that it defines our identity. Our identity is people that bring good to this world. In the middle, Rav Kook understands that we have to take both of those sides. One, being empathetic individuals. On the other side, understanding and being excited about our identity and who we are and our mission to bring goodness. But in the middle, he understands that we have to have some sort of a sense of commitment and submission to God's will. And understanding that even when mitzvot are difficult for us, we have to submit and understand that this is what God commands of us. And I think that all 3 of those aspects, even though they seem to contradict on a theoretical and logical level, I think on an emotional and moral level, we need to live within those 3 worlds. The world of submission to God, the world of human morality and love of all creatures, as well as the world of identity and national mission of bringing good to the world, even when it means destroying the evil. I hope everybody understands this identity and can come closer to reaching a collective identity of the Jewish people in memory of those who sacrificed for what we have today.